Welcome to the Good Morning Walk, where I decided to go, let's go with 3 T's. And I thought, Trump, Twitter, and then I was stuck with a third T. So it's like, what's been going on in, who's got a T? Who's got a T? Who can I use? And I thought, Tugenhart. So it's Trump, Twitter, and Tugenhart under the name today. Although I'm sure we'll be talking about other things as well, as we always end up doing on the Good Morning Walk. But as always, it's an absolute cracking day today. Slightly cooler than normal. So I sort of wish I'd brought my jacket or cardigan. Sarah, good morning to you. Like I say, good morning, good morning, good morning. Loki's children, good morning. Nicholas, good morning to you. Cavalan 100, good morning to you as well. Dave W, good morning. Oh, hang on, you're coming in fast now. Helen, good morning to you. Craig, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Oh, like I say, please remember to hit the like and share button. Like I say, let more people know. We are out and we are live in the world. But yes, it's a very nice morning, but it's sort of, end of summer now. I think you can tell just a bit by the weather. Which is a bit of a shame, but that's the way it goes, as they say. Oh. So, what's been happening this week? Well, honestly, it's been another quiet-ish week. Probably the biggest announcement, or at least the biggest kerfuffle we had, like I say, I've already done a video about it, is the whole, we're getting a 4-day work week, and no, we're not. It's not a 4-day work week. It's an expansion of flexi time, which, again, if you like flexi time, that's good. Oh, hang on. So, here we are. But yes, it's all good. Oh. Just walking through the cows. A lot of young calves there. Never seen them before. But yes, it's been sort of quite quiet. So we'll give a quick update what's been going on with the Tory civil war. Because we haven't talked about that for a while. Purely because, at the moment, they are still trying to wrangle their MPs. We're still at that stage where it matters how many MPs you have backing you. And the last time we looked at the chart, obviously Robert Jerrick shockingly was in the lead, but Kimmy Badenoch was very hotly on his heels. And since then, we haven't really done too much of an update about what's been going on. But as far as who is in the lead and who's declaring for who, I'm not 100% sure, because Conservative Home haven't updated their sheet for a while, which is annoying. But one person who has been really active, and I mean really active, is Tom Tugenhart. Tom Tugenhart has been doing all these speeches everywhere he can, trying to sort of respond, trying to sort of grab the media attention, sort of take control of the narrative. And I think that's trying to show, or at least trying to show his MPs, and maybe is very reluctant, as we said before, is very, very reluctant Conservative Party members, that he is somewhat capable of trying to control and take control of the narrative. Because as an opposition leader, you know, you have to try and get a hold of the story. You have to try and get ahead of it. You have to try and be on top of, you know, what's going on. So that's why, if you've seen him about a fair few bits at the moment recently, that's probably why. He's trying to get a hold of the narrative, trying to sort of convince people he's the guy. Whether it will work or not, that's up for debate. As we've said before, if it comes down to the final two and the membership has a choice between the headbangers side of the party, like Jerrick, Badnoch or Patel, although I doubt she's going to make it to the final two, they'll go for one of them. They will absolutely go for one of them, and it will be madness. It will be sheer madness, but God, I hope they go with Kimmy Badnoch. Oh, I hope she makes it to the final two, because I'll tell you what, if you want to see the destruction of the Conservative Party, Kimmy Badnoch is the way to go. Anyway. Oh, Richard, good morning. Craig, weirdly, I get the opposition to the 4-day work week thing. If you don't think you'll use it, there's others who will, and it'll make your life harder. I like flexi work when you don't have kids. Richard, good morning to you. Quick visit from before I go out for a walk as well. Well, hope you have a good walk. Decided just to go for a quick 6 or 10 minutes. Excellent. That's all you really need every day. Craig again. Bring a team of 5 and then can only one in each day can be an absolute nightmare. I've had it with now big chunks of my team are part-time. One Angry Pagan, good morning to you. Lol, we're both being called Oliver. I've just reached the final boss of spelling. Good morning to you. Like I say, good morning everyone else. With anti-vaxxer RFK now helping Trump, perhaps it'll make a great Portillo moment. Possibly, who knows, we'll have to wait and see. Like I say, good morning. I say everyone joining us. But yeah, like I say, in a couple of weeks' time, we are going to get to see who the final 4 are for the Conservative Party leadership race. And that's when things, I think, are going to get spicy. Because you've had, if you may remember, we had the threat from Bob Blackman, who was the new chairman of the 1922 committee, who came out and said, right, if you don't behave, you'll get a yellow card and a strongly worded letter. And somehow that was meant to deter the infighting that was going to go on. However, so far it has. And that's partly because it is down to trying to wrangle your MPs. It's not become a public spectacle as of yet. But once it gets down to the final 4, once they're at conference, once they've got to try and sort of compete, you can't be boring. Because if you look at the 2 who are in the lead, or well, especially if you look at Kimmy Badnoch, the party membership wants Badnoch because she is, loud, essentially, and has done all these really weird speeches from time to time. And they want her. And like I say, they want her by all means. It's just more content for me to cover. Because honestly, I could just go and just make a segment of what crazy stuff has Kimmy Badnoch said this week. and just run with that. until she gets the boot. But so yeah, that's really been the update on the Conservative, sort of cold civil war. And like I say, it is because that it hasn't yet become a public spectacle. And especially when it reaches the final two, it'll get messy. And then Bob Blackman's going to have to be issuing yellow card after strongly worded letter, which is going to be quite funny. What those strongly worded letters are going to be and what he's actually going to have to put in them. Not only that, we're going to actually have to look at his threat of, you will receive some sort of penalty to the competition. To which, if you look at the Conservative Party rules, he can't actually say or do anything about that because there is no rules for punishment when it comes to, tripping up candidates or anything like that, or speaking out against the candidates. So what is he going to do when it finally all kicks off? Who knows? But he is going to have very, very little to no power if they do start kicking off. And like I say, I want them to start kicking off because oh boy, is it going to be funny? Is it going to be funny when they finally start kicking off? And it is going to be because they want to play to the audience. They want to play to the crowd. They want to sell it. They were going to walk out into the Colosseum and it is going to be, we who are about to die salute you. They're going to be smashing their fists against the chests, crying about how great they are. When right now, of course, we've had James Cleverly and all the Home Office revelations this week. The fact that the Home Office reported they'd only spent, 110 million on their budget when they'd actually been spending closer to like 2.6 billion. Cleverly is not going to win this competition. That's for sure. But the only Cleverly thing he's actually done in this competition is stay away from the weird rhetoric of wanting to leave the European Court of Human Rights. Has the rejoin the EU process started? No, we're not even close to that. Not even close to that. But good morning, everyone joining us as well. Charles, Nick Ferrari has been in constant tax whining us mold at the moment. Yep. Yeah. Who's the ref going to be, and can we bet who's going to be carded? Exactly. Oh yes, Nicholas. Yeah, what's the fuss about Starmer taking down the Thatcher portrait? Honestly, this is one of the bizarre things, because whoever gets to take over, effectively that becomes their house for as long as they are Prime Minister. And it has always been very, very much the fact that whoever has been in there gets to decide what the decor, the drapes, the wallpaper, of course, is going to be. And if Starmer wants to take down, the Thatcher portrait, then yeah, he is allowed to take down the Thatcher portrait. That is his prerogative as Prime Minister. So, it's up to him if he wants to take it down. Blue Badger. I think Rishi was now pushing the mathematics just to threaten his ministers with exposure of their bad budgeting. Oh, honestly, I've said this before, it does not surprise me, and I think there's probably going to be more to come of just like revelations of just how bad like certain ministerial positions and ministerial jobs were run. I think there's still more to come on that. Richard, I find the whole smoking thing amusing. I mean, who can actually afford to buy cigarettes these days? Especially coming from the generation making the comments about avocado toast, coffee, and Netflix. Exactly. Good morning to you, P. McMahon. I think that's it. How about replacing the Mackie portrait with one of Clement Attlee? Maybe. I mean, like I say, it's up to Starmer, really. You know, like I say, it's his house technically for the next 5 years, or however long he occupies the post. So it's up to him to decide what he replaces it with. But you know, it's a big portrait you've suddenly got to fill. Oh, but that room has been for a while been called the Thatcher room anyway, in Downing Street, partly because that was the one that she occupied. And of course John Major, when he took office, made it like this sacred room, and he moved office to the new Prime Minister's office because he didn't want to soil the hallowed ground that Maggie had been walking on, even though he'd been part of the crew just a couple of weeks ago to actually get rid of her. That's how it goes sometimes with the Conservative Party. Oh, but one thing we've got to talk about is the whole Trump thing, because oh my word, yeah, honestly, I don't understand how this doesn't end up like sinking Trump completely, because it should absolutely sink his campaign. Because in America, when you look at like American culture, the military is like on this pedestal. If you served in the military, you instantly are like one above in society almost, because you served in the military. Oh my God, you served? To a point where even other, shall we say, foreign nationals who go to America who might have served in the military, all of a sudden get told how great and wonderful they are, you know, for serving in their military. And even they admit it comes across as a bit weird because they don't, it's not something that we do in Europe. It's not something that gets venerated like it does in America. And of course, Trump decided to go to Arlington. Arlington? Yeah, Arlington. I think that's how you say it, yeah. And Arlington is like the national cemetery for war dead in America. And they have there a rule, a federal rule, that you cannot use Arlington for partisan, political, or even campaign like opportunities. You can't go there and use that as an event. And of course, what did Trump do? What did Trump do? And it even gets worse, because this was all an event about the 13 soldiers who were killed in Afghanistan when the withdrawal happened. So it was a wreath-laying ceremony for them. And they had even said, like the families had said, we don't want any media attention. So that's the first thing, you know. And of course, along comes Trump. and decides to use this as a campaign opportunity. And it's honestly weird beyond belief that he's there in this, what is meant to be a very, solemn and somber moment. And yet he's there doing his, cheeky traditional thumbs up. And he just looks so out of place with like the rest of the families who are like clearly, but that's not the best part of it. Because the best part of it is the fact you had a staff member there who tried to stop this from happening, because obviously, remember, it's a federal law. It is a federal law that you aren't allowed to do these types of campaigning events here, that you're not allowed to do this type of stuff. So when one of the staff members tried to stop this got into an altercation. Now, there's conflicting reports of what exactly happened, but as far as we know, it got a bit physical. How physical, we don't know. There's no video, there's no anything like that been released. And the Trump campaign decided to use this as an advantage to their cause by saying that this person had a mental episode. I kid you not. That's what they were saying about this guy, that he was having a mental episode. Just what? So this has then resulted in the US Army, and this is why I don't understand how this hasn't like completely sunk his campaign and had conservatives coming out to like disavow him in droves. The US Army had to come out and issue a statement in defense not only of the staff member, saying no, they did not have a mental episode, they were simply doing their job and trying to enforce the law. And then they had an attack against the Trump campaign for using Arlington in the way they did. And I given how much that is like, gold standard, like how the military is treated in America, how has this not sunk his campaign when you've got the US Army coming out and saying that? And bear in mind, all you need now is like the Air Force and the Navy to come out and support that army statement, and I think his entire campaign is done at that point. I think his entire like campaign is done. How can he keep on campaigning? How can he keep any support? And I think the Republicans are going to be done with him after this election. I really do. I think they're going to be done with him, because I don't see how this does not massively negatively affect this. Like, I really don't see how his arguments don't negatively affect this. Because when you do this on this type of stuff, I'm sorry, but that is going to massively negatively affect his poll ratings. Massively. So I really think it is. How can he like continue to campaign when America has like such a massive like respect for like the military on that? Is your morning ponies? I don't understand how he gets away with it on that. Craig, yeah, the problem is this base will forgive him for almost anything. What it may have done is kill his chance with any moderates. I think that may have done it. You know, I think that may have done it, and I've always said this. You know, I've always said this. His base is big enough to win the primary of any Republican race. Like if Trump wanted to, he could be the nominee for every single Republican nominee forever if he wanted to. Although I know he can't, given the American rules and all that. But if he wanted to, he absolutely could. There is nothing that could stop him because his base is wildly pro-Trump. And as you just said, will forgive him for anything. They'll forgive him for absolutely anything. But the problem then becomes that base is not enough to win an election. Oh. I think that's new. Yeah, the felon's base is shrinking fast. Exactly. And we saw this, remember, we saw this with Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson still has this hardcore support base that will, bizarrely support him no matter what. And it's the same with Trump. But it won't win you a general election. And it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be very interesting to see. Oh, hang on. There is. I don't know if you can see them back there. Some moorhens, I believe. Baby moorhens as well. And is that a... No. There we go. So they can't win these types of big general elections because there just simply aren't enough of them. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Republicans react to the loss, because it is going to be a loss at this point. I can't see how he wins. But there is going to be, I think, a definite reaction. And I think maybe they are done with Trump for a while, but I think that what Trump has done to the Republican Party still sticks around for quite some time. That's what I think. I think you're still going to get people like Vance. He's going to be around. Marjorie Taylor Greene. There is going to be another crazy Republican candidate, and I think it's going to take some time before the Republican Party ever becomes sensible again, because they've got to work the whole Trump thing out of their system. Because I'll tell you this now, Trump becomes a kingmaker in any Republican primary. That if you go and you kiss the ring for Trump, then you have his base, you get his support, and that means you win the primary. Oh, one angry pagan, just seeing in the chat your brother got married. Congratulations. So we had a very fun time for that. Yeah, everyone that phone support loses. Yeah, we saw that in the apparent red wave that was meant to happen. If you remember when that was meant to happen. Red wave, everyone, red wave. There's going to be this huge red wave that is going to sort of go and take the Senate. And it didn't happen, didn't materialize. In fact, all Trump's picks lost, I believe. I think bar like one or two, or is it one that won? I can't remember exactly now. Nicholas Bethel, yeah, the Republicans disavowing Trump will be like when the Tories finally disavow Brexit. Yeah, it'll eventually happen. Both those things will eventually happen. It's just they've got to work through it. They've got to work through some of these things. Patrick Harris, good morning to you. Sorry, Patrick H, good morning to you. Early bird, well, as they say, early bird gets the worm. Yeah, exactly, Craig. You can't win a primary without Trump, but you can't win a general election with him. Exactly. And it's how long before they realize that. But to do that, you've got to have a massive internal party civil war, just like the Conservatives have got to have. And bear in mind, at the moment, you've still got the moderates who came out of the election with a pretty strong crowd. Like, it wasn't the right-wing lunatics in the Conservative Party that came out unscathed. It was mostly the moderates. And I think if Penny Mordaunt had survived, there is no doubt in my mind she would probably not be the one, like, should we say, winning this contest. Because I think you'd have had all those moderate MPs come out and support her. In fact, that's something else that's really bizarre. Considering this is such a long competition, it's so strange to see so many Conservatives taking so long to make their pick. Like, why are they waiting this long to decide who to back? And that's because in opposition, there's very few little goodies an opposition leader can really give out. And the Conservative Party, the way it is, you know, there is zero party loyalty. Whoever wins, even though they're all preaching unity, it's not going to work, because not one has actually defined what unity really means. They've all come to sort of some conclusion that it's all, you know, what they think like the Conservative Party should be. And the problem is, that's not what, like, the rest of the party thinks the Conservative Party should be. So, you know, what do you do about that? You know, what do they do about that? Charles, Trump will now challenge the election results. You can bet that he possibly will not leave. That's something else we are hearing, by the way. Trump has actually spent a lot of money to not win the race. Good old, I see the Oasis of Blur. Oh, it's like being in the 90s all over again. Oasis or Blur. But yeah, Trump has apparently spent a lot of money, not in to run the race, but prepared for challenges to challenge the election and the results in, of the election. And it's just like, how are the Republicans allowing that to happen? Generally, how are they allowing him to do that? But it's because they are still caught up in this whole Trump furore. And I've said it before. I think, oh, hang on, that's straight through a spider web. Well, that's also straight through a spider web. Tell you what, we'll go. Oh no, that's a tree. Right, we've got to go through the spider web. Go away, spider. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Hang on, I'm just covered in spider webs now. There we go. Yeah. Where were we? How the Republicans allowed him to sort of get away with this and spending this amount of money, I don't know. Because we know that the Republicans in some states are bankrupt, which is going to affect how they can even run the race in some states, like Arizona. We know they're bankrupt there. Georgia, because of the case against Trump, they are hemorrhaging money in that state. And it's like, how are they allowing him to get away with this? I think it's just because they can't, they don't either know how to challenge him, or they don't know how to defeat him, or they're really scared about, standing up against him. I don't know. And I've said it before about the Conservative leadership race. I think if Tom Tugenhart had come back in this race with the exact same message of, hey guys, I was the one last time preaching how much we needed to change, how much, the Conservative Party has to change the way that we do things. We have to now adapt to the new reality. I am going to be, the new face of conservatism. I'm surprised Tom Tugendhart is not doing that again. Because he could just come back again and just say, right guys, I told you last time I was the new face of conservatism, that we needed to do things differently, that, we needed to bring, restore some sanity to the party. Honestly, I think if he had come back with that, I think maybe that could have been the start. I don't think he would have won this race again, but once again, next time there comes a Conservative leadership race, he can come back and just go, right guys, I'm back for a third time telling you these are the problems in the Conservative Party, this is how we solve them, you're all being idiots. I don't understand why he's changed so much. And I think he realized that if he wants to win, that's how he's going to run. But at that point, he's only drinking the Kool-Aid, which once you start drinking the Kool-Aid, he can't then stop. I don't think he's realized that. You've actually got to challenge your crazies in your party. You've got to then challenge the lunatic membership fringe that up until, if you remember, a couple of back when it was going to be Liz Truss, well, after the Liz Truss debacle, it was either going to be Rishi Sunak or Boris Johnson was going to come back. The membership was like, oh, we'll gladly vote Boris back in. And meanwhile, all the MPs are like, we can't allow this to happen. We have to rally around Rishi. So, yeah, honestly, both of these parties are headed. Like, both of these parties are headed to like a civil war, because sooner or later, like, the sane and sensible people that are left in the party are just going to stand up and just say, well, look, your way has not worked. Your way has been ridiculous. Your way has been loss after loss after loss. Now, we might have lost to begin with, but we need more sensible stuff. We need to get back on track. Catho G, good morning to you. Reagan Leak, good morning to you as well. Nadine will be glad if Boris comes back. Oh, exactly. She'll be ecstatic. She'll be absolutely ecstatic if Boris comes back. Oh. And the other big question is, and I still think this is going to be a very big question that the next leader has to answer. And if it's someone like Kimmy Badenoch, what do they do about Farage? Like, what do they do about Farage? You know, a lot of the membership would like to do a merger with Reform and bring Nigel into the party. But the other half of the party would be dead set against that. And I've always said there will be a phase of the upcoming Conservative civil war we can call the Farage menage, where we find out what they intend to do about that. But like I say, we'll have to find out who the leader is first and who wins this upcoming competition. Because until then, we won't know what will happen then. When Angry Pagan, all hail the Badger, all hail the Badger indeed. Cornelius Burns, Trump will not be relevant without JD. They're both now picking up the poop in the park for each other. Yeah. I mean, we'll have to see what happens in the post-Trump world. I mean, he's got all those lawsuits. There's just that new one. There's just that new one. That dropped recently, which is gonna be interesting when that starts as well, because he's got a lot, I think, of court cases that are gonna get him. Yeah. Craig, it is the we want to be Tory but more right wing, so let's add Reform versus we want to get back into government sooner rather than later, so that means jettisoning the Faragists. It's not just jettisoning the Faragists, it's jettisoning the party that has ultimately been really in control since 2016. And it was those people who forced Cameron to have a referendum, which he didn't want to have, because they kept threatening to walk over to UKIP. If I was David Cameron, I'd have said, okay, there's the door. Walk on over. And then, really, it has been, I think, a political misunderstanding to really not understand what Brexit was about and what it actually meant, which was a lot of people wanted change. And it was Boris Johnson and all these Brexiteers who promised that if we leave, there's going to be this massive change for the better. after David Cameron's austerity. And of course, everyone was telling them, no, that's not going to happen, you know, and it hasn't happened. You know, we all know that, and we've even got now the poll that was in the Independent that the majority of Labour voters want Starmer to drop his red lines on Brexit and rejoin, you know, single market and customs union. And why? Because remember, the Leave said it, and I would love to see what their heads spin around when they bring up the words of one Daniel Hannan saying that a vote for Leave was not a vote to leave the single market and customs union, because only a fool would leave the single market and customs union. That would be funny. That would be hilarious to see. Let's see when they get challenged with that. And I've never really seen a Brexiteer, or at least one of the big, you know, core Brexiteers challenged with that notion. Yep, Ukraine still holding. Yep, will be embarrassing for Putin. Yeah, I keep on meaning to do an update about Ukraine, but even I don't know what's going to happen, how long. I think they are intending to hold that territory for as long as they can, because the more they hold that territory, the more it seems to really unnerve Putin. If anything, it has really gone to show, and I think they've done it to show the West that Putin's red lines are meaningless. That whenever he says these things, or whenever he says this is a red line, etc., which, bear in mind, we have done before, you know. Don't send tanks, don't send weapons, don't send missiles, or else that's the red line. Well, how many red lines of Putin have we crossed? And really, Ukraine taking Russian territory was meant to be like the ultimate red line. Doesn't really seem to be, you know, Putin's red lines exist. That they are meaningless. So hopefully this really galvanizes, I think, more Ukraine's Western allies more. Because the worst thing to be happen, or at least we do not want the history books to say that, you know, Ukraine lost because of a lack of Western support. You know, I think that would be a massive indictment, I think, of the West, if that happened, if that is what the history books wrote about the Ukraine conflict. Yep, Reagan leaks a massive morale boost as well. Yep. Strengthen their bargaining position with Russia. Yep, exactly as well. It's what will bring Russia to the table, and I think it will be next year. You know, I think it'll be next year. I think 2025, depending on the result of the election. Russia is somehow hoping that, you know, Trump wins. Oh, that was something else. That was something else we found out. Did you see all the stuff about the boxer at I can't remember her name now. Yeah, the boxer at the Olympics. That was all pushed by Russian disinformation bots. Have we seen that? Which sort of doesn't surprise me, to be honest, but in a way it sort of did. You know, don't pay attention, you know, to what's really going on. You know, argue about, you know, this particular boxer. It doesn't surprise me. That's it, Imar Khamif. That's, yes, I think that's how you say his name. So yeah, it was, to be honest, not that shocking really when we heard about some of that stuff. Oh. Bonnie's in jail. But yes, we are now coming to the end of our good morning walk. So hopefully we've covered some nice topics today. Nice range. Oh, we didn't even cover Twitter. Oh, yes, Twitter is now banned in Brazil. Twitter is now banned in Brazil. One can only hope that the EU followed by us, because that would be hilarious if the EU follows through on that. Oh, because we know that there's going to be hearings possibly about some of the stuff that Twitter's been doing, and that will be interesting to find out as well, just from a technical point of view on some of the stuff. But yes, here we are. So I don't think it'll be too long before we are back into transition mode. Summer will be coming, I think, to an end very, very soon here. I'm now in just a t-shirt, but it won't be long before soon we've got the hat, the gloves, and of course the coat back on, trudging through here. Winter will be, I'm sure, returning soon to these hills very soon. But we, of course, will still be walking, even when it is cold like that. So, as always, thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. It's been absolutely fantastic to see you. And, of course, as always, don't forget to click on the like and share button on your way out. Leave a comment down below. Stuff down below for, Patreon page, buy me a coffee link, etc. You can help support the channel down that way. And, of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.